Hi, welcome to the channel. This week we're going to have a look through the complete first wave of the 2012 Tmnt figures. So of course we have to start with the leader of the Turtles, Leonardo. Like the old school Turtle figures, it came with a little sprue of weapons and things that you can sort of see at the back here. It's like some throwing daggers and bits and bobs. He also came with his trusty katana blades. The style of the figure I think is pretty cool. I do like these original versions of the 2012 figures. They don't really look too much like the ones in the show. You sort of see Leo here at the bottom, but as figures they just look really mean. I love the colours, the skin tones, or the extra detail on the figure. He's obviously got sort of knee pads, elbow pads, got the strap across his chest. Packaging wise, they all came in these sort of purple backed cards. On the back here you can see a little bit of a breakdown about the character, the weapons, a brief history of who the Turtles are, and at the bottom you've got your cross sell with all the first wave figures shown. Yeah, very nice. The plastic actually has got this kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got almost like a turtle shell. Yeah, you can just see it there. Look. It's got a turtle shell finish on it, which is kind of cool. You didn't have to do that, but quite unique. But yeah, pretty cool. So if you take him off the card, this is what you get. Quite a few different colours. He's got his sheath on the back for his two katana blades. Loads of articulation, unlike the original turtle figures. You've got the wrist swivel, elbows, shoulders, which spin and go up and down. Obviously the head moves as well. In terms of standing them up, they've got giant feet and they do stand very well. So he's not leaning on that, just they do stand really nicely. One thing that you notice they changed, these first ones came with 3 toes, which is a bit weird, but it doesn't really detract from them. I think they still look pretty cool, and as I say, the one benefit is they do stand up really nicely. So there you go, that's Leonardo. Let's pop him over here. Then of course you've got to have Raphael, hothead and sharp sai expert. Again, comes with this sprue of weapons at the back. He's got a ninja star, he's got some other weapons, and then you've got his trusty twin sai on here. Again, quite a sort of mean looking finish to the character. These ones have got the sort of the all white eyes. That's a little bit of info about Raphael. And again, you've got the cross with the other figures on the back. Yeah, very nicely done. Raphael is slightly darker on the sort of green. They've all got sort of almost green sort of coloured shells, and they're all very different. Again, Leo's is quite a light green. This is more of a sort of dark, sort of foresty type green. But again, you can put his sai. One thing is different actually on this. A lot of the turtle figures, the sais go on the front, don't they, in here? But on the 2012 RAF, the sais do go on the back, like the rest of the turtles' weapons. So there you go. Then you've got Donatello, inventor and weaponeer. Again, a sprue, and of course he's got his trusty bow staff. And there he is on the back. So Donnie is the tallest of the 4 turtles. He's got this strap with a little loop across his chest. He's a lot lighter in skin tone than the other two. But otherwise, again, similar theme throughout. Got all the wraps on his ankles and wrists like the others have. Slot on his back to put his bow staff in. Again, yeah, stands very nicely. Okay, and then finally for the 4 turtles, we've got Michelangelo, a jokester and hard-hitting nunchuck hero. He comes with his 2 nunchucks, you expect. Looks like he's got a couple of ninja stars. Yeah, again, nice little sprue of weapons. And there he is. I think they did a really great job of reimagining Michelangelo in this particular incarnation. Yeah, very good. There he is. That's, of course, this is the figure itself with his nunchuck. And I think he's probably the lightest of the 4 turtles, almost sort of lime green in colour. Space on the back for his nunchuck to go in. You can actually get them in these a bit better than the older ones because they're slightly wider holes, which is handy. There he is. Right, so that's the 4 brothers. Let's see who else came in this first wave. Okay, so where would the turtles be without their honourable sensei and, of course, their main human ally? So looking firstly at Splinter, this imagining of the character is quite a lot different to previous Splinters. They obviously chose to not go for the cloth sort of material clothing which they've done in the past, and also he just comes with this one sort of staff. He's got, again, wraps all around his sort of hands and wrists. Got this kind of cool beard coming down. Yeah, I do like this version of Splinter. Again, there you go. A little bit about him. And here he is with his almost translucent staff. Quite nice detail on his robe and whatnot. He's got his tail, and that does again help to make him nice and easy to stand up. So yeah, he stands reasonably well with his tail. You can twist it round to change the pose and whatnot. Nice little figure. So then that brings us to April. A very different version of April to previous incarnations, but pretty cool. Again, she comes with a sprue with some weapons on. Looks like she's got some training swords. Obviously she's got this bow staff, and she's got these little throwing weapons as well. The only criticism of these is that they are very thin, the arms, and they are prone to breaking quite easily. On the back, you've got a little bit of description. There we go. And here she is. So this is my loose version, and this arm that looks a bit weird is because it's been glued on. It's unfortunately snapped at the shoulder, but articulation is not as much as the turtles obviously, but you have got reasonable articulation to move the arms out and up and down. A little bit of wrist articulation as well. You can spin those round. She's got fairly large feet, so again I'm pretty sure she stands quite well. So that's April and Splinter, the first 2 allies to be released in this line. Right, that brings us on to the 3 villains in this first wave. Let's start with Shredder. I have to say, I really like this version of Shredder. I think they really nailed this character in the 2012 line. The original figure, which probably isn't the best of the 2012 figures that they released, but it's still pretty good, does come with quite a few of the classic hallmarks of Shredder. You've obviously got the various blades on his shoulders and forearms, the iconic sort of mask, which is a mixture of previous Shredder stars we've had in the past. He's got a sword, a couple of ninja stars. Again, we've got a little write-up on the back. This is the European version, so it's in multiple languages. And still got the cross out at the bottom. Very cool figure. So off the card, this is the figure. Quite a nice mixture of colours. You've got sort of blacks, purples, and of course the silver of his armour. You can see the various blades and whatnot on his shoulders, forearms, and his legs. Yeah, really great figure, this one. As I say, probably surpassed by the later version, which had the removable helmet and so on. But for the first wave, yeah, a really nice representation of the Turtles' main villain. And of course, who would the Shredder be without the Foot Clan? Again, in this first wave, we had the main foot soldiers represented. Quite a few different items included with these. 2 of the ninja stars, a couple of swords, well, sort of a sword and a dagger, and obviously a sheath that you can put on his back to hold everything. And again, I do really like how these have turned out. Definitely sort of give off a sort of 1990 movie vibe in terms of the masks and that. Yeah, really like these. Again, you've got a little breakdown on the back. And out of the packaging, they look like this. I've got a few of these loose, and this one's actually got the hard on the back for his weapons. In terms of articulation, they have again given quite a few options on the arms and sort of the wrists and at the elbows. Likewise, the legs got quite a few different directions you can move them in. Nothing below the knee though, these are just fixed. Again, these have got quite wide feet, so they're pretty easy to stand up. There you go. So yeah, a really cool first version of the Foot Soldier. So that just leaves us with one of the Kraang. These look really cool in the packaging, I have to say. You've got the sort of rubber Kraang himself in the centre in this sort of exoskeleton robot. Comes with a couple of handheld weapons, which are pretty cool. As I say, they do look really good. These are very close to the show. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the original Turtles don't look, certainly facially, that much like their on-screen counterparts. But this is a really good representation of one of the Kraang. And there you go. Again, a little bit of blurb at the back. And finally, here he is outside of his packaging. As I say, these do look cool, but these are a pig to try and get stood up. I've had a couple where the legs have actually sort of twisted here, where the ankles meet the feet, and others where the arms have broken because they're quite thin. And just generally, the legs are fixed at the knees, so you've got this really weird stance. So, although every other figure we've shown today has been really easy to stand up, these are a pig. Let's see if we get lucky. Well, he's leant against the packaging there, so we'll run with that. So yeah, so there you go. That completes the first wave of these 2012 TMNT figures. If you're a collector of turtle figures, I think these are a really great range to get into. They're a lot more affordable than the more vintage figures, the sort of 80s and 90s characters, and in the most part they're pretty readily available. There are certain characters that have become a little bit rarer, but I've been putting together a collection of these for the last, I don't know, 12, 18 months, probably not quite as long as that, and I've almost been able to pick up every single one carded. I think I've got about 15 or 20 that I don't have in the collection. There were so many cool lines that they brought out as well. Obviously you had the initial waves after this one, which introduced some of the other characters from the show. You also had some really cool sort of spin-offs. There was the Dimension X figures later on, the sort of space ones. You had a variety of Tales of the TMNT figures and characters. If you're considering collecting this particular line, I would say go for it. There are some really cool figures in amongst these. Right, that just about does us for this week's video. Thanks ever so much for watching as always. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you like this sort of content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll be back again next week with another video. Take it easy.